What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I want to give you guys an urgent Bitcoin update as we have just gotten a bit of a move to the upside and everybody is wondering what has happened and why we pumped seemingly out of nowhere. And we actually just got breaking news out of the SEC Grayscale lawsuit. And that news is that Grayscale just won. Now, to fill you guys in who might not be fully up to date on this whole situation, Grayscale has previously had Bitcoin ETF applications rejected. This eventually led to Grayscale actually suing the SEC, saying that their ruling against these Bitcoin ETFs is arbitrary, and that lawsuit has just resulted in a dub for Grayscale. Now, this is not only an overall bullish mark for the crypto space, but this could be a key stepping stone in actually getting one of these spot Bitcoin ETFs approved, which a lot of people speculate could cause a massive change in sentiment over the long term and give us a big boost into the next bull run. So in today's video, guys, I want to jump into the charts, talk about where we pumped to, those key levels that we need to be looking at to the upside. And if you guys watched my live stream last night at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we were actually looking at some things that were looking like we were making a significant bottom at key support. So I want to break all that down. And as you guys know, I'm a big believer in show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. And this move up, again, if you watch the live stream, wasn't that unexpected, but it was just basically a waiting game. And then finally, Grayscale wins their lawsuit with the SEC out of nowhere. Coincidental, and there goes the price of Bitcoin. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the charts. I'm going to break down the levels we have to keep our eye on and where I think Bitcoin's going to go next. And I'll even go ahead and take a look at some of the altcoins that we've been watching on the live stream recently, because we're seeing some of those charts play out as we thought as well. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the charts. Here we go. So obviously here, guys, we have breaking. Grayscale wins the SEC lawsuit. I kind of already broke this down. You can see here the DC Circuit ruled in favor of Grayscale in our lawsuit, challenging the SEC's decision to deny GBTC's conversion to an ETF. So they were actually trying to convert their Bitcoin trust into an actual ETF, which is what they were having trouble with in the past. And then they sued the SEC, and now they came out on top. So super interesting stuff. You guys can go check out this article. It's all over the place. If you just Google Grayscale, it'll pop up. But let's go ahead and jump on into the charts here, because again, if you guys remember on our live stream last night, we actually still have the drawings up. You guys can see there were some things we were looking at for a potential move to the upside. And again, we were looking for a move into a very key level. And you can see these levels are getting respected right now. So I want to talk real quick about what we were looking at on the chart last night and the past few days that were helping us expect this move to the upside. And then we're going to talk about where I think Bitcoin is likely to go next. Now, as you guys know, there were some things on the 4-hour time frame we've been looking at on the live stream. And number one, it all starts with the volume profile. We've been looking at this volume profile range for quite some time. We were waiting for a drop below this value area high, a bearish retest before getting a move down to the value area low. We got that a lot quicker than I thought we were going to get it, but we wound up getting it. We came right down to that value area low where we don't get super bearish. Everybody thought Bitcoin was going to go to zero, and we don't get bearish at support, guys, because when you get down to these value area lows, more often than not, you do wind up getting some level of support down here. And that's why we always look for longs at the value area low, and we always look for shorts at the value area high, and more specifically when we deviate below or above these levels. You could see, we were actually talking about this on the channel recently, these deviations below the value area oftentimes are kind of the area where you want to be looking for long positions to get sucked back into your value area and go attack that value area high. Because once you get below this value area low, you're looking at price as oversold or undervalued, and you're expecting price to get sucked back into an area of balance, aka within your value area. I break this down all the time on my channels, guys. With the volume profiles, you want to think of the inside of this range as a fair price for Bitcoin, and anytime you deviate to the upside or the downside, you could think of deviating to the upside as overbought and deviating to the downside as oversold. And again, when you're undervalued or oversold, you could expect to come back into balance or come back to a fair price for Bitcoin, which again is in between your value area high and value area low, or simply put, just within your range. So as we came down to this value area low, some of the signals we saw, guys, that were expecting us to potentially hold this as support and get a move up into some of our key levels was a bullish divergence. Not only a bullish divergence on the 4-hour, you can see we had lower lows on our price with higher lows on our momentum waves, giving giving us that pinch point or bullish divergence. And these obviously warrant a correction to the upside more often than not, but it's not just the bullish divergence. It's also the fact that you're at your value area low. That's your key level of support. Typically, you want to think of this as your trap. You're not looking for a short or a long in any of this wild, fast, violent, volatile price action. You are waiting simply for price to come up to your key level, give you a signal at some point while touching that level, and then looking to take that signal for a move either to the upside or to the downside. You want to wait to come to your trap. So what happened? We went from the value area high, we came to our trap, which was this value area low, or simply put, just our next key level of support. We got our bullish divergence on the 4 hour. Again, key level was tapped. And not only that, but you can see our money flow on the 4 hour, which this is a big signal that we were going to get a move to the upside. And we took a look at this last night. The money flow crossover on top of the confirmed bullish divergence and the fact that we tapped that key level was letting us know that there was a chance that once this money flow crossed over into the green, we could begin a trend to the upside on the 4 hour time frame, potentially targeting, again, the highs of our range, right? Because we're just looking at this as a volume profile range. You come to the high, right? You shoot to the high, you deviate from the high, you get your bearish confirmations, you're looking for a push back inside the range, you're eventually expecting to come back down to your low, and then when you get down to your low, you're looking for the exact same thing in the opposite direction, eventually expecting to potentially, no guarantees, but get up back to the top of this range. So with that being said, these are some of the things that we were looking at for a move to the upside. Now, you guys know we were looking at the daily as something that was actually signifying we might not get a move to the upside, but this is important to realize, guys. We had our VWAP curving to the downside here, which was not very indicative of a big move to the upside, and I was actually talking about how I would rather see a red dot print on the daily, and I would actually rather see a momentum wave come a little bit down here and get a bullish divergence on the daily, but we simply did not get that, right? We did not get that setup. So obviously when the setup's not there, you don't take the trade, but we talked about how you can get support on the 0 line with your VWAP, and that is exactly what happened. I think I said something like, not possible, guys. We could just have this VWAP fly straight up and get a big move to the upside. It's kind of hard to tell right now because we did have some mixed signals. That's why last night I was kind of preparing everybody for an if this then that statement. If we come up first, these are the levels I'm looking for a rejection. If we come down first, these are the bullish confirmations I'm looking at to get into a long. And when the charts are looking a little confusing, you got to look at it as an if this then that kind of statement. And that's what we did last night. And I was saying, guys, kind of hard to say, like, the daily VWAP doesn't look like it wants to really just go to the upside, but we could just fly with the VWAP straight back up, not print that red dot, and that's exactly what happened. And sometimes that just happens in the market, guys. That's why you want to have a case for a bullish move and a bearish move. But continuing on here, guys, obviously, just zooming out here, even if you weren't looking at any indicators, once you get to that value area low, you're not looking to short down to 0. Right? You're looking for potential support to come in, especially after a big move like this. Oftentimes, you will get some kind of relief, but as you guys know, on the higher time frames, our money flow on the 4-day, our money flow on the 3-day, and our money flow even on the 5-day is crossing over into the red. The other time frames are looking for a crossover into the red, which is a bit more bearish, right? So, with that being said, my general sentiment lately, with the VWAPs on the higher daily time frames coming up, looking for green dots, but the money flow kind of going against that, crossing into the red, that gave me the sentiment of, hey, a local bounce is likely to come in at this value area high, but because of the way money flow is coming out on the higher time frames, I will simply be looking for this to come up, put in a lower high at some very key levels that I will talk about in a second, but looking for price to come up and essentially just make a lower high before continuing to the downside. Because remember, the VWAP and the green dots indicate the noise in the market, the ebbs and the flows, the ups and the downs, and the money flow indicates the overall trend, right? So the overall trend right now, based off high time frame money flow, would be, the higher time frame money flow would be saying that this trend will likely continue to the downside, but we may get a local bounce coming in here. And when you have the VWAPs on the higher time frames printing those green dots, those pumps can look pretty big on the lower time frames. But again, when you zoom out, we are essentially just looking for this to come up as a lackluster bounce and then roll back over to the downside. But notice, we still could have a decent bit of upside before we put in that lower high and come down. So let's go ahead and go over the key levels that I'm looking at, which again, we look at on the live stream every single day. So if you don't watch those live streams, definitely get in there because we give all those levels on that stream every single day. But I will go over them again in this video video. So let's go ahead and pull up that chart. So guys, here we are on the actual chart with our key levels. And again, you see the same thing here. We have our macro volume profile. We came down to that low, put in those bullish confirmations, letting us know that this could be a significant bottom. Because again, remember, kind of what I want you guys to walk away with, if I could teach you something in this video, is that when you get these bullish divergences with money flow also coming up at the same time, especially in my experience on the 4-hour, this oftentimes signifies a significant bottom, right? Well, we had something very similar happen right here. Same thing. We hit that key level, being our value area low, deviated slightly, and put those bullish divergences in with money flow coming up before that significant move to the upside. So bull divs give you more often than not some kind of a move, but when you could get money flow coming up with those bull divs at the same time at a key level, specifically a value area low, that is typically where you get these significant moves to the upside. And that's why we were looking at this as a significant low on the live stream last night. But those key levels above us that we could be looking for rejections at, as you can see, we are starting to get a little resistance in our first box right here, which is coming in between about $27,000 and $27,527. Not only do we have a golden pocket 786 retracement level in here, we also have our 200-day moving average, which is going to be a big level to get above if we are going to work this thing to higher prices. Now, if we are able to actually get above these levels, the next key level I will be looking at is going to be $28,000 even, where we have not only a golden pocket, but also our Bybit POC, which is simply just the point of control from a different exchange. Right here, we're on the Bitstamp chart, and that POC is actually on the Bybit chart, and I'll actually show you that POC right now. If I pull the same exact range, you can see right at about $28,050, we have that point of control. And the reason I'm actually looking at this point of control over the point of control right here on Bitstamp closer to 29.3 is because this POC is so close to the value area high and this golden pocket retracement level, which is, in my opinion, the most important golden pocket retracement level because it is the Fibonacci retracement level of the entire move down. But because all these three levels are so close to each other, I'm actually looking at these as one single level of resistance. So if we get above this current purple box we are rejecting right now, I would look for a push up into this POC at $28,050. And simply put here, guys, if we can't get bearish confirmations at this level, or we don't wick up to that 786 and then put in bearish confirmations and get a reversal there, I will be looking, simply put, to the value area high, right? Because once you get above that POC, right, remember the laws of the volume profile. Once you hold support on the value area low, you are simply looking for a push up to your POC, and then eventually if you could flip that POC, you're looking for a move into that value area high, which again, remember, I just said this level right here, in my opinion, would be a beautiful place to potentially put in that lower high because this is the golden pocket retracement of the entire move down. So if we do indeed get above that POC, the main area, it's not just the POC value area high golden pocket right here, but I would also somewhat incorporate this 786 retracement level as well. I just don't like having ranges this big on my chart, but this real resistance zone is really going to be between about 28,756 and 29,633. And again, this is kind of the sauciest level that I would be looking for shorts at. But remember, there's no telling. We could reverse here and we could reverse here. But by doing the analysis with these fresh money flow crossovers on time frames like the 4-hour, especially with our higher time frame green dots, I do think we could potentially see this thing continue up a bit more. And again, if we get above that POC, simply looking for that lower high to come in at this purple box. And then real quick, before I let you guys go, I do want to just take a quick look at Matic, only because we looked at this on the live stream last night and we were looking at some very, very specific things on a lot of these altcoins, as well as ADA. It's not just Matic. We were also looking at Cardano, showing something very, very similar, and that was a bullish divergence on the 2-day time frame, right? You have your lower lows on your price with the higher lows on your momentum waves, giving you that bullish divergence, warranting a correction to the upside. And as you can see, since that divergence has started to print, we actually have gotten a move up of about 20%. So these bull dips on the higher time frames do not lie, guys. So yeah, just nice little play out on that 2-day bull dip that we were looking at last night. And then also, not ApeCoin, on Cardano, we saw something very, very similar. We actually saw our lower lows, slight lower lows on our price action with our higher lows on our momentum waves, giving us, again, again, that confirmed bullish divergence on the 2-day. And again, this also resulted, since it started printing, has actually resulted in a move up of about 10%. Right now, for Cardano, I would be looking for a potential move up if we can get this to continue up into this value area low, getting into the 30-cent level, more specifically 31.5 cents. Hopefully you found this video insightful or at least helpful in some way. So shout out to anybody holding a Bitcoin long right now, or anyone who saw that value area low holding as support with that confirmed bull div with the money flow coming up and was able to see that move coming up before it actually happened. And with all that being said, guys, I think that's all the time I got for today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah.